Alright folks, welcome back. In this video we will quickly just look at functions and arrays, and this is part of the things that makes the shell, or in this case bash shell script, very powerful, because remember, these are not equivalent to your high-level programming languages like Java, PHP and all. These languages, or this is basically a shell script. It's a script, right? A script that basically automates most of your repetitive commands, but it doesn't just stop at just that. It goes ahead and gives you ability to create functions, which basically is just a block of a routine code that you must have created to run anytime you call the function. And arrays, of course, you can see though in what I can show you in this screencast is the use of indexed, or the use of associative arrays. Associative arrays are kind of arrays that you reference, instead of referencing the array elements by their index in the array, you basically refer to them or access them using some letters that you've assigned, for instance. So that associative array concept was introduced in bash 4.0, and this is what we don't have. In this case we are running bash 3.0. so if I, for instance, run the set command and I do a grep on maybe bash, one of the things I want you to look at here is the bash version, and the bash version you can see is 3.2.5, 3.2.25. so this is the version we're running in this case. But feel free to experiment. You can go ahead and get the newest version of bash and install it, and try to use things like the associative array and one of two features that must have been accompanied or must be included in the bash 4.0. Alright, so let me play the script. So let's start with functions. Alright, so functions in bash are nothing but functions. Like in functions, any programming language that you're used to, the syntax you can use to create functions in bash could be is actually different. Okay, so in this case, for instance, let's see if we can write a function in the script, or let's create a new script. So let me do an ls. What I want to do now is I want to just create a copy of the script. So I'll create a copy of the script and I'll call it script2. Okay, so I'm making a copy of script2. So if I open the script2, it should be the same with script 1. So this time around I'm just going to take off this part while leaving the other parts. So here I can just say, maybe modify it a bit. This will be my second script, and let's say a script that shows how to use functions. Okay, so having said that, now let's quickly look at how to create functions. So the syntax for creating the functions, you can actually do it in two ways. The first one is you can just create a function name. So let's say show, let's just say show result as a function, and then this is just a function name. Okay, so show result, and within this function here I'm going to put a block of code. So in this case, let's just say echo, let's say the result is I'm just going to use double quotes, so that I'll introduce a variable at the top. So let's say the result is result. Okay, and here we would have created result. This is the variable, and result, let's say, is 15. Right, so let's just leave it like that. Now what is interesting here for us, or what we're interested in here, is the function declaration. Another way of creating the function here is I could use the function keyword, and I can just say show result 2, right? And this time around I'm just going to create echo the result is let's say result again. Okay, so let me save that and try to run our script. Sorry for that. It's going to be script 2. Remember, because what you should be asking now is, why didn't I make script 2 executable? I made a copy of it, remember. So the copy means it copies everything, the permissions, the permissions on the script. Okay, so but you can see here, after running the script, script 2, well, there's no output. Didn't we have an echo? So if I do a cut of script 2, You can see here that I have an echo, right? The echo is supposed to run. Come on, what happened? Well, you're right. Now the reason is because we've put this in the function block, right? In the function block, it doesn't run anytime our script runs. Okay, it only runs when we call it, just like your other programming languages. So what does it mean to call a function? To call a function is basically is simply a way of saying to invoke the function, okay, to make the function now run. So let me edit this script again, and this time around I'm just going to type the function name, and this is how you call the function in bash. So the first one is show result and the second one is show result 2. Notice I'm not even putting any parentheses here. I'll put parentheses here by the time I start using arguments. So, but for now, that is beyond the scope of our introductory class of bash. Probably if you want to go ahead and do some advanced bash, then of course we can talk about this, but just typing show result simply invokes the show result function, and typing show results 2 simply invokes the show results 2 function. Alright, so let me quickly just try something out. Let me put a /n here. Okay, so by now you should know what I'm trying to do. This is basically for escaping. Alright, so let's try to run our script 2, and for some reason it's passing the /n. This is not what I want. Let me quickly just edit the script. Alright, so I'll come back to this later. Alright, so let me clear the screen and let me run the script again. Voila, so you can see here the result is 5 or 15. You can see this is from the first function, and then here you can see the result is 15 again. This is from the second function. So what you can see here is functions are very easy to create. Just create a block of code, and functions don't run until they have been called, just like any programming languages that you should be that you are familiar with. Alright, so basically that's it about functions. So I challenge you right now to go sit down, look at a simple code, look at the project section, and see what you can actually abstract into a function, so that you don't just run a series of commands if you don't need to, if you don't want to. Alright, so the next thing is arrays. Arrays are, for the most part, what you know in other programming languages. They allow you to use group of collections of variable values and all. So for instance, you can have a variable that can store a series of data related to this, and basically the arrays contain the values. So the values here is, in this case, the items or the elements of the array, and then the name of the array, of course, will now be the variable name. Alright, so just give it a try. Let's go back to our script 2.sh, and now that we've done functions and we've called the functions, let me just comment them out. So obviously I'm going to add the script to our, okay, so let's edit the description to include a script that shows how to use functions and arrays. Alright, so now how do you create an array in bash? It's very simple, just like a variable name. So let's just say let's just call this list of names. Alright, so you can see how I'm calling the variable list of names, and this is going to be equal to, now this is the first part. When you start creating a variable, you put them inside brackets, or yes, into parentheses, and within the parentheses you now separate the elements in the array by spaces. So for instance, let's just say list of names. So let's just say John, let's just say Moses, let's just say Williams, let's say EP, just an example, just throw it in there. So you can see here that these are the elements in the array, and just like you expect in the current implementation of the bash version we have, these are the elements in the array, and this being referenced by their index. So the first one will be index 0, the second one will be index 1, index 2, and 3. And that's how we use them. So now let me just give you an example. So once I do an echo, let me try and run an echo on lists of names and see what we get here, just to test. Okay, so script 2. Whoa, well, I had a lot of elements in the array. Now this is the behavior you get when you try to output the value of an array. What happens is if you just echo or try to print the name of the array, then all you get is the first element in the array. So that's not what we want. What if I want to print let's just say nano script to want to modify this. Okay, want to print Moses. Well, doing this alone will not solve the problem, right? Now let's see. The only way you can access the arrays is, if you notice, the first time I explained, I said the best way is sometimes you just have to use the full parameter expansion. What that means is I just have to come here and put this in braces. I try to run this try to run the script. Now nothing changed, right? But we've added something in our script that will help us print out the contents of allow us access our arrays. Now the only way to access the arrays is now use a square bracket after the name of the array, and of course you now put the index. So let's say the first element, right? So just like you guessed, the output will not be any different. You can see here is John. Now the interesting part, what if I change this index to, I want to print the third element in the array, right? Let's see 3, and I type it. Wow, voila, you see? So now I have IP, which is the third element in the array, and you see, this is how we play with variable. This is how we play with arrays in Bash. So let me open up script 2 sh again. Alright, so you can see this is how you play with arrays. So what happens if you don't put this square brackets? Well, let's see. Anyway, I just always like to show you why sometimes we do some stuff. Oh, I was supposed to get EP, right? No, wrong. The reason is because the system doesn't know how to pass the $name without using the standard or the full parameter expansion or the variable expansion format. So having said that, let's correct our script, and that should still work. Alright, so now that I've seen how that's done, and that's how we play with arrays, another thing you want to do most of the time is if you want to print all the list of elements in the array. Okay, so for instance, I want to print everything in the array, right? So let me make a copy of this line. Let me come here, and now instead of just typing the index, I can always use the asterisk key. Now I can use the asterisk or the @ symbol to print all the elements in the array, but there's a difference, right? So let's see how we all differ. So let me put the 2. It's good to put the 2 at a test and run the script, right? So now if you notice here, this gives us all the elements in the array. The 2 gives us the same output, right? So that's how we access all the elements in the array. Now, but in most cases, this will give you all the outputs of all the elements in the array in one line, while the @ sign will try to give you all the elements of the array splitted into different parts. So for instance, let's try something else. Okay, I just want to bring your mind to something that I've done before. If I run the set and I grab the Bash version, and I grab the Bash version, right? So you can see here the version is 3, right? Now let me just echo this out. Okay, what I'm interested in here is the Bash info. Okay, so let me just copy this, and then I echo using the $sign, right? It's a global variable. Bash info. Alright, so just like you expect, right? The first element in the array here, you can see here is 3. Okay, the second element here is 2, and also, but it's always echoing or displaying the first element in the array. Now if you notice here, they started with the index and then they assigned the value, right? So this is a manual way of actually assigning it. So what we did was basically the same thing. We can actually assign John to index 0, but Bash is clever enough to know that even if you just have the first element, it assigns the index 0 and then 1 and so on. Alright, so what I want to now do is, this tells us that this Bash vars info is an array. So let's put the standard output, but this time around let's put the square brackets and access the 4th element in the array. Like you'd expect, the 4th element in the array is release, and you can see here that we've accessed release, right? Now let's try something interesting here. Let me put the star. Voila, here by the time you just put the star, you can see 3, 2, 2, 5, 1 and so on. Alright, now let me try using the @ sign. Alright, so while it gives us the same output, for some reason this is different, but this might work differently in your own system. Well, the difference really is not so much. They all print out the output, but sometimes you see this actually being separated individually into its own line. So I challenge you to try it, test it, and see if it works for you. If it doesn't, well, nothing has changed. The reason is just because they all help you print all the contents of the array you have in your file. So hopefully this has been very useful. If you feel you still don't understand arrays and the ideas behind arrays, please watch the video again and look at function as well. They are really not that hard. So if you have questions, comments, always drop it in the course material feedback area in the comment section, or you can send me an email or look at the course material as well. So from me, it's bye bye, and hope to see you next time.